G'day folks, I'm Mitchell Dale. This is Rugby League Week's Friday Arvo Footy. Joined on the couch today by Martin Lenihan, Eric Groth, the Lumberjack. Thanks for joining us, boys.
Nice to be here, mates. Nice to be a lumberjack who knows what size shirt to get.
Mine shrunk in the wash. Now, firstly, seriously, Mitchell Pearce, we've all seen the footage. We know he got fined. He won't be playing this weekend. What do you make of it?
Mate, well, I think when you get really technical and you look at the footage of him touching the girl, so to speak, he doesn't actually grab her. He kind of swipes her to get her attention. It's probably in the wrong region, which looks a lot more inappropriate than what the actual gesture was. Maybe just touch her on the shoulder. I think the fact that he didn't leave as soon as the coppers said, mate, get out. He wasn't going to talk him around. They were never going to say, all right, you're right, go back, have another beer. Should have just left. That would have saved a heap of trouble. But, mate, he's a decent fella. He's actually one of the nice guys in the NRL. He goes out of his way to say good day to people, and I've had a lot to do with him, mate. He's a good bloke. So 20 grand's a bit steep. I reckon, yeah, maybe 10.
20 grand is an expensive drink, isn't it?
Yeah, look, I think he needed a bit of guidance from the mates there, boys. I mean, they had a good afternoon, went into the evening. We've all been there. I think, someone just to say, Pearcey, look, once, as you said, once the cops are involved, it's not going anywhere good from there. He got a fine for failing to leave the premises. He's paid it. Channel 9 paid a bit too much, I would have thought, for the footage and talked it up deluxe. Look, he's pretty regretful. He's apologised. It's a tough situation, but I've got to say I think the Roosters handled it quite well.
And what about, he's off the grog as well, which I think is important. I mean, he got off the grog last year. The Roosters pocketed themselves a premiership. I think for all involved, that's a good step going forward too.
Yeah, that incident happens or it doesn't. I think it's a good move this time of year, especially with Origin around. And like you said, his form spoke for itself last year when he didn't drink. So, mate, yeah, rugby league these days, you've got to be on your game every week. So if you're staying off the grog, it's a great step in that direction.
Yep, 20 grand. It's an expensive drink, but hopefully Mitchell Pearce has learnt from it and he can move on. Okay, exciting times. Origin teams are named in a couple of days, but boys, Laurie Daly's Blues, still plenty of holes there, particularly in the halves.
Yeah, definitely, mate. I would definitely pick Josh Reynolds 100%. He's one of them mongrels that players don't want to play against, so he'd be one of my first picks, mate. I know people mightn't agree with that, but Leno?
I'm with you, mate. I want to see the law firm of Reynolds and Reynolds in the halves. I'd like to see Adam Reynolds get a shot from South. I think you talk about the mongrel too with Greg Bird gone. Now he got let off to the point that he'll play the second and third game, but geez, they're going to miss him in game one. They're going to miss that attitude. I think Josh Reynolds can bring that to the table. Interesting
that you both say that. Rugby League Week this week, the cover is Josh Reynolds, and Queensland is saying don't pick him for that same reason, that he just brings that mongrel and he brings a bit of unpredictability. So, look, that's the Blues. A few very interesting times there for Laurie Daly this weekend. What about Queensland though? Their selection meeting will go for 5 minutes. It's just 16 of the usual suspects, and it's whether you bring in Dave Taylor or not. He's been outstanding for the Titans. Would you have him?
I would. I definitely would. In 2008, I had a shocking season. Daniel Anderson come to the club in 2009, and I thought I was going to have to rip and tear and scratch and crawl to get my position back. He said to me, mate, you're the winger. Don't give me a reason to not pick you. So it gave me confidence, and I wanted to prove to him that he made the right decision. I think it'll be the same case with Dave Taylor. Pick him, and that X factor will come out, I reckon. And not that Queensland really need any more X factor, but yeah, they can't go wrong.
People have been trying to light a fire under Dave Taylor for years, and a lot of it's been with criticism, saying that he needs to aim up. Maybe if Mal Meninga just shows a little bit of faith in him. I mean, scary thought for the Blues that a fit and firing Dave Taylor could be running at you after 25 minutes off the bench.
Well, they've always shown faith over the years. That's why their selection meetings are pretty quick. You know, they don't throw guys out in a hurry. Dave Taylor will be there. He'll probably run riot. Look out.
Yep, very interesting to see. The next few days we'll have all the answers, particularly for the Blues. There's a lot of selection holes to be filled. Massive game in Brisbane tonight, boys. Titans and the Broncos. Now, Broncos started the season well. Wheels have fallen off a bit lately. We caught up with Steve Renouf, club legend, very passionate Broncos man. Asked him what's going wrong there.
Ben Barber, what do you make of his form, and how can he get out of a bit of a slump that he's in at the moment?
I think it's something that'll just come with Ben. I think this might be where you see he's struggling with not a full-time six or a genuine six. A fullback's always going to struggle with that sort of, get fed in clean ball. I think that could be part of the problem, but it's probably more, it's just something that will calm. He'll do something good and it'll all click for him.
Ben Hannant has come back into the squad. He was dropped last week, had a great game against the Jets. He's got a lot to prove. Can his relationship with Griffin be repaired, do you think?
Yeah, look, I think so. We might have read a bit too much, and I probably read a bit too much into it too. I don't think it was fair that he got dropped, because in doing that, you not just penalised Ben Hannant, you actually penalised the team, which I think that decision probably shouldn't have been made. But, you know, from what I hear, Benny knew he was always going back. It was just 1 week out, and I don't think you'll see him leave the squad for the rest of the year. They can't do without him.
Boys, I think the Ben Hannant one's the one for me that's very strange. Going well 1 week, dropped the next under, strange pretences. Martin Kennedy came in, made 3 runs, got hooked off the field. I mean, they got dominated up front. Matt Scott made 18 runs for over 200 metres, got an RLW 10 in the ratings, which is pretty much unheard of for a prop. Mate, the Hannant thing was just very strange, Eric.
Yeah, the sole reason for Hannant getting dropped apparently was because Jared Wallace asked for his advice on what he'd be worth in the open market, and Ben Hannant gave him advice. If that's the case, that's disgusting. I can't believe that would be a reason someone would get dropped.
Yeah. Well, what if a young Sharks winger came to you and said, Eric, what am I worth?
Mate, I'd tell him straight away what I thought.
And he wouldn't expect to be dropped?
No way you wouldn't, because what's the contrary of that? On the contrary, you say, oh, mate, it's none of my business, I'm staying out of that. The kid goes home and goes, oh, geez, that Eric Blake's a bit of a tool. Like, you got to help your teammate out. It's just stupid. I don't know. I don't know what they expected him to do there. He's just been a good clubman, in my opinion, by helping out a young guy.
They got to get back on track tonight. They play the Titans without Bird. It's a huge game. They're at home. Get the culture right, get the attitude right, and have a win.
Yep, they love a derby, Brisbane. This could be their chance to turn things around a little bit. Here's the boot. Means it's time for the Encouragement Award. Eric, what do you got?
Yes, Encouragement Award this week goes to the young lady in the yellow dress that was swiped on the back by Mitchell Pearce. She had a very big opportunity to make a bit of a 15-minute of fame kind of scenario about herself, but she chose not to. She said she didn't want to press any charges or go any further with it. I think that's a very noble way to handle a situation, because in the past, a lot of girls have taken advantage of that. And
well, not just girls. Guys have done it too.
Yeah,
got into stinks with blokes and with footy players.
100%, not just girls. Sorry, feminists out there. I'm not saying it's just males and females, and we're all one. Together we love each other very much. Well done.
Thanks, Eric. Okay, finally, before we go, I've spoken to the mole. Boys, I have a scoop. Steve Price, Dragons Board, will meet in 3 weeks to decide his future.
Yeah, big year for Steve. He's been up, they've been down, they're all over the place. Benji Marshall is there now. Look, I think he's done a pretty good job this year. I reckon he will see out the year, but tough situation. They're really lacking in any grunt in the forwards. Now, Benji Marshall, he'll bring some people in the gate, but he ain't going to rectify that situation for him.
Yeah, one of the NRL's real nice guys, Steve Pricey. He's champion bloke, mate. I hope he sees out the year at least, hopefully even more, and we'll all find out in the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, look, Dragons fans are calling for his head, but I agree with you, blokes. I think he deserves a bit more time to prove he's worth keeping around. That's it from us this week. Thanks for joining us, boys. Thank you for joining us. Enjoy the footy this week. We'll be back next week.